What's up, guys? It's Stephen Wolf here, and I'm going to be doing a quick review on a bunch of Mako dive gear. So let's get started. All right, so first and foremost, this is their Yamamoto neoprene dive suits. I got the 7 mil top and bottom. I live out in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon coast to be exact. This is a 7 mil suit, unlike a lot of 7 mil dive suits or free dive suits. Usually the top will be a 7, the bottom will be a 5. On this, I believe both are 7. When I bought them, they had the bibs, the overall bibs on the pants, and I'm gonna tell you, I dove this even in like the winter months in like February, and it's just too fucking hot. I ended up finally cutting the top off. And that helped a lot. The other thing that you really need to be cognizant of is that because it's 7 mil top and bottom, you need a lot more weight. I'm just shy of 200 pounds and 6'2", and I have to run 22 pounds of weight. And I was still having trouble getting down. Then when I cut the bibs off, that kind of evened out. So that's one thing to take into consideration. But super hot suit, slips on very easily. It's been very durable. I mean, I got like a poke in it from a spear tip once, and that was it. But yeah, awesome suit. I would definitely recommend that over any that I've tried so far. These are their Kevlar dive gloves. I got the XXL, I believe. Yep. And these are 5 mil. My hands are a funny size. Like the length is an XXL, but the width is more like an XL. But if I get an XL, the webbing in my hands is my fingers are too long for the finger pocket. So it does let a little bit more water in. But like I said, I dive in very cold waters, like 45-degree waters, 55-degree waters. And even with the water that it lets in, I've never been cold with these, and they are bulletproof, man. One thing I'll say is that you can barely get your finger in the spear gun trigger pocket because they're so beefy. But you know, what you lose in dexterity, you gain in durability. So these are great. Probably some of the better I've ever used. The Mako dive mask with the camera mount. This is one I don't really have a great things to say about. So the fact that they came out with a mask that has a camera mount on it is great. Not a lot of people do. It's a very cool mask. It's very well designed. I mean, it's clear. It doesn't fog once you treat it. But the thing is that this thing leaks. On me, it leaks right around here. I have pronounced cheekbones and brow ridge, so I thought maybe it was just the way that it fit me. But I have a friend that I dive with a little bit north of me here, and he has the same mask and the same problem. So if they remedied that, this would be a great mask. The other thing is that the strap's really kind of thin. So if you use like a heavier snorkel, like I use a dry snorkel, or even just the fact of the weight that it has on it with the camera on there kind of makes it a little bit, it wants to pull down, so you basically have to get the strap right where you want it for it to hang there. And with it leaking all the time, you constantly taking it off, clearing it, dipping it back in the ocean, putting it back on your face, this strap moves around a lot, and then you have to reposition it a lot. So there's a lot of maintenance with this mask if you want to dive and take video. And one of the biggest problems is even if you set this thing very tight to try and get a good seal, for one, that's not comfortable, but for two, even with that, you get down about 10 feet and it starts to leak from pressure. So and that, right about that time, if you're doing your duck dive and you're going straight down, that water ends up right in your eye socket, and you or right on the front of the mask, and you just cannot see. So you'll get to the bottom down to your reef, and then all of a sudden you've got no vis. So great idea. I still use it because it's one of the only masks that there is for free diving that has a camera mount on it. But I would definitely say if they could go back to the drawing board on this, that'd be great. I even tried the last time I went diving with it to put a little bit of beeswax on the inside of the rim of the mask to try and mitigate any leakage. It still did it. So not 100% recommendation on that. But if you have to have a mask mounted camera, for the price, it's great. I mean, given, you know, its downfalls. But anyway, next, we got the Mako dive bag. This thing, a lot of people, even friends of mine that I've dove with, say that they were afraid to buy it because they weren't sure it was going to be big enough. Well, it's plenty big enough. It's not so big that it's cumbersome, easy for a shore dive, walking down to the beach. The only thing I would say is I don't put my dive weights in here because it just weighs so much already with all the gear that I have. It's kind of awkward. I'd rather just throw the dive weight belt over my shoulder and walk down to the water. This thing's durable. The zippers are great. Even when they get sand in them, it's just fine. Holds all the gear you need. I will say, if you're like me and you bring more than one mask, more than one knife, or any kind of backup gear, you're going to end up using the small pocket for that, and then just your suit and your gloves, and well, basically all your suit stuff and your fins in the big zipper pocket. But it's great, man. I love it. Great purchase. Worth every penny that they're charging for it. Next is their dive light. This thing is like, it's 1,000 lumen, and I've had other 1,000 lumens that are not this bright. This thing is like the sun. I took this out at nighttime to go outside and just see how bright it was. It literally like lights up the whole forest. This is a great dive light. Good battery life on it. I've never had it die on me on a dive, and I dive 6 hours at a time sometimes. So this is a really good dive light, and for what they're charging for it, it's like they're, you know, compared to other brands, they're basically giving it away. So this is a great one. They're spear guns. So this is one I had to make up for me. This is a roller gun. It's their Titan, I believe, model. And I had to make me up a 50 centimeter, which is the shortest that they make. This thing is great. It takes a second to get used to the loading. You kind of the way I do it is I'll put it on my leg or my hip while I'm in the water, and I use both hands. So I grab the D loop with my right hand, and then as soon as I get it a little ways up, I'll just grab the bands with my other hand and push down as I pull it back to load it. And if you do that, it's no problem to get it loaded. I will say you're not going to probably pull straight back to the third, the highest tension setting, even doing it like that. Best thing to do, pull it back to the first shark fin. Once you've got it there, then make the pull to the second one, let it rest, then make the pull to the third one, depending on how much power you need. I actually only ever use the first one, and I have stone shot ling cod right in the head with this thing, no problem. I will say that because I went with such a short gun, that you know, like 10-foot shots, it's fallen just shy of being able to reach fish at that range. So what I did to mitigate that was I just did a double wrap on the line. And if you guys want to see how I did that, I can make another video on it. Let me know in the comments. But this thing's so cool, and the float just makes it perfect buoyancy. Their handles are great. That thumb grip, high grip, I mean, that's just perfect. And honestly, I was just slaying fish with this. That aiming with a 50 centimeter gun is so effortless because there's not so much gun in front of you that, you know, any kind of torque you put on it's gonna knock your shot off. It's very, very right down the middle, and it's kind of cool how they've got the muzzle. You may not be able to see this. If you line, let's see here. If you line straight down there, you can see right in between the D loop, they've got this groove right here in the muzzle. If you line that up with the notches in the spear shaft, it's like its own aiming sight. So that works really well if you have to make a long shot, or if you're shooting at a fish that's small, or maybe if you're above them and you're doing a downward shot, you know, and you've got that thin body to hit. That does help. It helps a lot, and it's very easy to track and to use that sight that way. The trigger or the safety on this stick, sometimes I've had to actually take my dive knife out and pry it back, and kind of where it sits, where the string comes back, it kind of almost sits on it. You can see it's right there, and so it makes it really hard to maneuver. And if you don't lube this gun every single time that you use it, that will stick. You know, it gets salt in it, it gets sand in it. One way they could mitigate that would be to put the Hermes release on the other side and keep that out of your way. That'd be great. The Hermes release and the trigger is very smooth, just like they claim. This gun is like lightning. I had the 70 centimeter regular tube gun, or non-roller type, and it was fast and it was a good gun. A little bit longer. I prefer this over that. Either one's a great gun. The thing about them is if you don't lube them every time, like the release mechanism for the line and kind of in the internals here, you'll get back out the next time and the spear won't want to click in. Sometimes you have to like pull the trigger, push the release forward, and then push it back in a couple of times to get it to snap in. So reloading in the water is kind of a pain in the butt if you're not really doing your maintenance on it. And if your shaft gets bent, this thing won't want to lock in quite either. So you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. But I think that's probably not too different than a lot of guns. One thing that I don't really like on this, I bought their camera mount for the gun, and you can see what's left of it is this just the mount. And what happened was the first time, so it's got a flopper on here that kind of comes down, and you can have your camera mounted like that or hold it up like that. The spring mount in here, this tiny little spring, really doesn't do much to really put much tension on it. So it actually, the first time I took it out, the camera fell off the mount itself and went down into the jetty. So I lost the GoPro camera due to that. The next time I took it out, I didn't have the camera mounted on there. I just had the blade on there, the flopper that they have on this to mount the camera to, and with no weight on it at all and no camera of any kind, it managed to fall off in the water. So now I just have the mount on there and no camera mount. So the camera mount's very flimsy. I don't know why they even put that on the market. It was kind of it's not good. Even for the money, it's not good. If they could fix that, that'd be great. Another thing is with this 50 centimeter being so short, there's nowhere to mount a dive light on it. It'd be really cool if they would convert this mounting system to attach a dive light, since there's nowhere else to put it. That would be a great use for that, since the camera mount's kind of but yeah, these are great guns. I'm like headshotting everything with this now, no problem at all. Great gun. The next thing, the Mako roller spear. This thing is amazing. I pretty much sold off all of my backup guns because this thing just does the trick. I don't really need to have a second gun in case something happens to my main gun, because honestly, like, this thing is so foolproof. I mean, unless you let your bands get worn down or something, or they gave way on you out there, you're not going to have any problems with it. I chose to put some of their squid tape on there for like the little flasher tape. Works great. And the other cool thing about this thing is I had the flopper tip on this, and I was doing my breathe up on a free dive spearfish, and just having the spear hanging down below me, doing my breathe up, and the flopper on my spear tip just moving back and forth, I had rockfish swimming up to me and just sitting underneath me. So like while I'm sitting there, I was able to take shots at these fish just on the flopper, and that's without even having the squid tape on the tip here. So really cool. I mean, I've had fish look at the flopper on a spear gun before, but not come closer. With this, they came right up to the surface just underneath me to see what was going on. So you can dang near just float up on the surface and have the fish come to you. So that's really cool. When you've got this thing put together, I guess I can screw it together here. You won't be able to probably see it all in the camera shot, but when you've got this thing together, you basically slide this line. Got to loosen that up. You slide this all the way up past this metal joint in the center here, and you're set up. I mean, that's all it takes. So I mean, you could even just leave this in the bag that it comes with on your dive float, and say you limit it out with your gun, and you just want to like goof off and shoot some rock or some surf perch or something like that. It's a higher limit. You can switch over to this for more fun, or if you had a problem with your gun while you're out, this is just as good as a gun. In fact, I like this better in a lot of ways because For one, when you're out there and you dive down, I can get 3 shots on one breath hold with this. I mean, it's literally as quick as, you know, you take your shot, let it go. If you miss, just grab it again. I mean, you can shoot up to, I've shot 3 times on one breath hold, you know, missed the fish twice, and on the 3rd time hit it. So even if you're not the best aim with the pole spear, the pole spear's advantage is that you can do that kind of thing. And then I will say too, I've shot fish at 10 feet with this, and that's the same distance that I'm having trouble with my roller gun getting them at. Well, not now that I extended the line, but you know, you get good shot distance out of this. And it's really easy to pull back, really easy to hold, especially with a good glove like the ones that Mako makes. They even sent me a longer band for this that I can anchor up. Well, excuse me. So this one's under tension right now. It's pre-tensed, which means you're comfortable holding spots right here, which is kind of like the balance point for it. But the tape is all the way up here, which when I first got it, it threw me off. And the whole day I was down there diving, pulling all the way up to here to hold. For one, that was off balance, and also it is a pain in the butt to hold with the pre-tensed bands that they come with. So I didn't know that's why this tape was here. So if you get one, know that this is actually up here for if you convert this to a regular pole spear without the roller. So your hold would be up here. But I did have them make me a longer band so that it's not pre-tensed, and that made stretching all the way up here no problem. But if you get one, I would suggest either taking this off if you're going to keep it a roller gun, and then putting a new grip here, or something like that. But it's really great to be able to get 3 shots on one dive, and it really does a number on. I shot a 3-pound, 4-pound rockfish with this at 7 feet or 8 feet, and it buried it all the way to the spear was in the actual fish, not just the flopper and the injector. So it's got some oomph, and I love this thing. So this is a really good buy. And lastly is their dive weights and their dive belt. So like I said, I've got 22 pounds on mine because of the neoprene, the amount of neoprene on that 7mm suit. They work great. I mean, it's a really good dive belt. Some of the buckle ones, you know, are a little more adjustable, but I found just make it a little bit tighter. It sits really good once you're in the water. The weights themselves are, you know, they're lead. They're self-explanatory. They work great. Yeah, everything that they make is great. I mean, my dive buddies give me crap because pretty much everything I have is Mako. I mean, I have other brand stuff. I just don't use it. But they are just the greatest bang for your buck and really great to work with. Like when I wanted to extend the line on my gun, they just sent it to me. They didn't even ask me for the shipping. And this is like really, really nice high dollar Dacron, you know, so just a great company. And I mean, like they're guarantee with the dive weights, they'll send you a new belt if you get in trouble and have to cut your losses and let your belt go. I don't know anybody else in the business is doing that. I did just recently order a set of their dive fins and one of their float buoys and a flasher. Ironically, those will probably be here today, and I should have waited to do this review. But I want to try them out before I review them. Just like all of this stuff, I used it quite a bit before I decided that I would say anything about it. I noticed that they weren't getting a lot of you know, recognition for their products. There's not a lot of YouTube videos out there about what they have, and I didn't feel okay with that because of how good the stuff really is. So I wanted to do this video for that reason. And any of you that are on the fence about them because they don't have the flashy media that a lot of the other companies do, or like they don't pay for the advertising that a lot of them do. I just to let people know that they are quality, like the best quality. I mean, I have a few gripes about a couple of things, but I mean, like, we're talking about a slightly leaky mask and a camera mount that just didn't pan out. Those are the worst things I can say about their whole product line, and I've tried almost everything now. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting a wetsuit, definitely do it. Roller gun, definitely do it. Roller spear, definitely do it. Dive belt, you're not going to get a better guarantee, and nobody that I know has a better made dive bag than what they make. And my other buddy's got a Cressy And I've seen the pathos and all that stuff. So nobody's really beating what they're putting out for the dollar, and you're going to really appreciate it when you get it. And having a company that stands behind what they're making, you know, and if you call them and you're like, hey, you know, I like the roller spear, but I want a slightly longer band, they'll make you one. You know, if you call them and say, I like the roller gun that you've got, and I just want this to be a little bit, they'll work with you, and they're the only company I've ever experienced that does that. So give them a try, guys. Anyway, dive safe, and I'll see you guys next time.